Courtland Simmons with you here at the CS Racing Report with the early Belmont Stakes Picks podcast. And when looking at this field on the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's destruction of the Belmont field and sweep of the Triple Crown, the four flashpoints are FORTE. 10-week layoff, won the Kentucky, well, he was supposed to win the Kentucky Derby if you're asking the people around him going into it. He was scratched due to a veterinary issue. The vet scratched him. And Todd Pletcher, when he loses the Derby, he likes to skip the Preakness and forge on to the Belmont. That combination has been very effective in 3 of his 4 Belmont wins on his resume. And he would have liked to have run FORTE after being scratched from the Derby in the Preakness. That didn't happen, so he has an unintended or unplanned 10-week break. And the question is going to be whether he shows up or he empties out. And that's going to be a big question as we look into the picks later on. But I think he's very interesting in here. He's certainly going to take in a lot of money. People still think he's the best horse. Another flashpoint is his stablemate, TAPIT TRICE. He was considered a Belmont horse before the Kentucky Derby, and he didn't run so well in the Derby. The tactical speed he showed on the backside in the Bluegrass, he didn't display it in Kentucky, and he's going to have to show it here. He dropped back from the 99 buyer in the Bluegrass to a 94 in the Derby, ran 6th or 7th. So even though he has the Regal TAPIT pedigree, he's sired 4 Belmont winners. He's going to have to make those adjustments and improve from how he ran in Louisville. I personally don't like him as much as everyone else does. Didn't like him in the Derby. Not really keen on him here, but we'll touch on that later on. The other flashpoint is Angel of Empire, who's had 2 9-furlong plus preps leading into the Kentucky Derby. Won the Risen Star and the Arkansas Derby. Ran a great race in the Derby. 104 Beyer speed figure when finishing behind Mage and 2 fills. Mage ran a 105, so that's an excellent number. Improved 10 points from his number in the Arkansas Derby. And the question is going to be whether he likes the trip. Brad Cox is going to put blinkers on that I don't deem as necessary, given what he did in both in Arkansas and Kentucky. He showed some speed, but Cox is basically leaving no angelic stone unturned. He's going to put the eyewear on the number 8, a son, of course, of Classic Empire, a horse that after finishing 4th in the Derby and 2nd in the Preakness, nosed out by Cloud Computing. He was sitting on top of probably a really good performance in the Belmont. His son gets an opportunity to maximize that possible potential to show the stamina in this Belmont Stakes, and we'll touch on them as aforementioned in the picks. Another flashpoint is Red Route 1. In the Preakness recap, I said that him showing tactical speed in that race, in a race that was dead in terms of pace, was a good move that would be beneficial down the road. My question was, or my thinking was that Asmussen wouldn't test the theory going 12 furlongs. He's in the field in the number 9 post. He's going to get an opportunity to show whether that early speed is going to diffuse his punch like it did in the Preakness, where it only gets worse going 12 furlongs, or if he's going to be effective, he's going to be able to outgrind other horses and get into the winner's circle and at the least hit the exotics. Red Route 1, that's your 4th flashpoint. Keep that in mind when looking at the picks, and we're going to get to those, and in doing so, we're going to look at another Brad Cox horse. And that would be Hit Show, one of my upset specials, or he is the upset special. The number 7, he ran a really good sneaky 5th in the Kentucky Derby, was 2nd when upset by a long shot Lord Miles in the Wood, won the Withers at 9 furlongs at Aqueduct earlier in the winter. He looks good in this race. I think he can probably get the trip, even though the 1.5 miles might not be his best route. The 7, the 6, the 3, the 4, where he defeats FORTE. The number 3, Archangelo, a son of Arrogate, a pedigree that a lot of people think can be built upon to get 12 furlongs. And so he's a horse who's very interesting. Winner of the Peter Pan, the local prep at Belmont Park at 1.8 miles. Hit Show defeats those horses. FORTE, Archangelo, the number 3, and the 4, Preakness winner, National Treasure. 7634 or 76, insert the 2, TAPIT TRICE to fill out your Superfecta or your third place horse in that Super. 7624 if you don't want to do 7634 with Hit Show from Brad Cox's barn on top. The next pick is FORTE, overcoming the long layoff, showing his brilliance, or being able to improve upon the speed figures that have diminished since he ran 100. in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He dropped from 100 to 98 in the Fountain of Youth, 95 in the Florida Derby. Can he step up and get the job done at 12 furlongs after missing the Derby in the Preakness? The 6, the 8, the 4, and the 9 would suggest that he can in those set of numbers where he beats Angel of Empire, National Treasure, and the aforementioned Red Route 1. 6, 8, 4, 9 with FORTE on top. And then my top 2 picks are going to be Angel of Empire, as I aforementioned, those good preps, good foundation, Flavian Prat the rider, trained like Hit Show by Brad Cox, the 8, the 4, the 3, the 6, where he beats National Treasure, the 3, Arcangelo, and the 6, FORTE, 8, 4, 3, 6 with Angel of Empire on top. I think he's going to be in the area code, and he's going to finish well if you think, as I do, that he's one of the ones to win the Belmont Stakes. And then my top pick is a horse that a lot of people thought walked the cat and dog in the Preakness Stakes with the slow pace, which he did. He got a slow pace, finished with the flourish, and I think he's going to be able, after overcoming foot problems that probably compromised him in the Santa Anita Derby, that forced him to miss the Kentucky Derby, didn't have the points. I believe National Treasure is going to consolidate the Preakness win and win the Belmont Stakes. Of course, a lot of people think he's going to get swallowed. He's going to get surrounded and swallowed up in this Belmont, and he's going to finish off the board. And the fact that he's a Bob Baffert trainer compounds the dislike for the horse, but I like him in here. The 4, the 8, the 9, the 6, National Treasure over Angel of Empire, Red Route 1, and the 6, FORTE, or the 4, the 8, the 9, and the 1, toss in TAPIT Shoes, holding up on the front end out of the number 1 hole, also trained by Brad Cox. Or you can go 4, 8, 1, 9, TAPIT Shoes finishing 3rd, Red Route 4th. So those are my early picks. I may do some revised selections, but we'll certainly recap the Belmont Stakes right here at the CS Racing Report.